If I told you there are two languages that connect pretty much every culture across all of human history, what would you guess?
Maybe art. Or writing.
Good guesses, but I'm actually talking about music and dance. They feel like, just entertainment, but they're
Yeah,
so much deeper than that. They're fundamental.
absolutely. When you trace it all the way back, the very first instruments were just the human body. People used their voices, clapped their hands, stomped their feet.
It wasn't for a show, right?
Not at all. It was for communication, for working together, like on a hunt. And most importantly, it was for communal bonding. It was the original social network.
And we have actual proof of this, don't we?
We do. And it's amazing. Archaeologists have found simple flutes just carved from bone that are over 40,000 years old.
40,000 years. That is just, it puts everything in perspective.
Uh,
So today, that's what we're doing. We're going to trace that journey from those ancient rhythms all the way to a concert hall and even to, the dances you see on your social media feeds.
right. And to understand that evolution, we have to start with the moment music stopped being just about memory. I'm talking about the invention of musical notation.
Oh, this is a huge leap because before that, musicians had to memorize everything.
Everything, perfectly, by ear. They were basically human hard drives for music.
I can barely remember my password, let alone an entire symphony. So notation. It's a visual system, right? Those symbols on the 5 lines of a staff.
Exactly. And that system is what allowed music to get really, really complex. A composer could write down their exact vision and send it anywhere.
And it would sound the same every single time.
Precisely. Whether it was played in Vienna in, say, 1780 or by a school orchestra today, that notation tells you everything.
What do you mean by everything?
Well, it covers the 3 big things. Pitch, which is how high or low a note is, duration, so how long you hold it, and volume, but whether it should be a whisper or, a huge, loud sound. It's a complete blueprint.
Okay, so we know how it's written down. But what is music physically? This is where it gets to science, which I think is fascinating.
It is pure science. At its core, music is just vibrations, sound waves traveling through the air. When you pluck a guitar string, it wiggles the air molecules around it.
And those wiggles travel to our ears.
That's it. And the speed of that wiggle, or vibration, determines the pitch.
So fast vibrations are high notes and slower ones are low notes.
Exactly. Scientists measure that speed, the frequency, in a unit called hertz.
And that's how we get different notes. But what about volume?
Volume is all about the height of that sound wave, which is called its amplitude. A big, tall wave means a loud sound because it's hitting your ear with more force.
Right. And how fast does that wave actually travel?
Through the air, it's about 1,100 feet per second.
Oh.
Yeah. And that speed is actually super important for engineers.
Yeah.
When they build concert halls, they have to understand that science to make sure the sound from the stage reaches everyone perfectly.
Okay, so let's move from the science to the stage. Let's talk about a classical orchestra. It's this huge group of musicians divided into, 4 main families?
That's right. The first and biggest is the strings. This is the heart of the orchestra.
Violins, violas.
Yep. And the cello, which has that rich, warm sound. And then the huge upright double bass, which is like 6 feet tall and holds down the low end.
Then you have the woodwinds.
Right. The instruments you blow air through, like flutes and clarinets, they add a lot of the color and melody.
Next up, the power section.
The brass, trumpets, trombones, they're made of metal, and they produce these really powerful, heroic tones.
And finally, my favorite section.
The percussion.
Everything you hit or shake.
Yeah.
Drums, cymbals, all that fun stuff.
They're the rhythmic engine of the whole thing, and the person in charge of all this organized sound is the conductor.
Who's not just keeping time.
Yeah.
They're really interpreting the music for everyone.
Absolutely. They're shaping the emotion, and that kind of formal structure leads us really nicely into ballet.
Ah, okay. The dance equivalent of a symphony.
In a way, yeah. It's a highly technical, very disciplined style of dance that started in the royal courts of Europe, way back. Dancers tell a whole story, but without a single word.
The skill level is just staggering. It takes years and years of super strict training. I'm thinking of the pointy shoes.
The point shoes are iconic. They let the female dancers look like they're floating, balancing on the very tips of their toes. It takes incredible strength.
It really is like defying gravity, all those spins and high jumps.
Yeah,
It's pure athleticism mixed with art.
it absolutely is.
So let's shift gears a bit. From the royal courts to the village green, let's talk about traditional folk dances.
Yes. Folk dances are so interesting because they grew organically out of communities. They don't have one single creator. They belong to the people of a region.
And they're usually danced in circles or lines, right?
Exactly, so that everyone can join in. It's all about community, not about showing off some crazy technical skill.
And these dances are like living history books. They pass down stories and traditions.
They really are. People wear traditional costumes, and the steps themselves can sometimes tell a story about farming or fishing or a historical event, all set to local instruments like fiddles or bagpipes.
That idea of blending cultures makes me think of jazz.
A perfect transition. Jazz is one of the most important American art forms, born in the U.S. around the start of the 20th century.
And its defining feature is improvisation.
Right, totally. The musicians are making up parts of the music on the spot, having a conversation with their instruments. It's this amazing blend of African rhythms and European harmony.
You hear a lot of trumpets, saxophones, piano, and the rhythm has that special feel to it.
It's called swing. The beat isn't perfectly even, which gives it this really energetic, bouncy quality that just makes you want to move.
Okay, now let's jump forward into the digital age. Everything changes with technology. Let's start with pop music.
Pop music is basically designed to be catchy for the widest possible audience. It usually has a simple structure, verse, chorus, chorus.
The technology behind it is anything but simple now.
Not at all. Electronic instruments and computers completely change the game. Synthesizers can create thousands of sounds that don't exist in nature, and producers use software to mix it all together perfectly.
And a subgenre of that is electronic dance music, or EDM.
Right, which is music made specifically for dancing. It has that heavy, steady beat that just repeats, usually around 120 beats per minute. The DJ is the one controlling the energy all night.
And if we're talking about modern cultural movements, we have to talk about hip-hop.
Absolutely. It started in New York City in the 1970s, and it's a whole culture with four main parts.
Rapping, DJing, graffiti art, and breakdancing.
And breakdancing is the physical part. It's incredibly athletic. You see all these spins, flips, and really complex footwork happening on the floor.
And it started as a kind of competition, right? A non-violent way to battle.
That's right. It requires so much upper body strength and flexibility. It really is a powerful art form.
Okay, so we've gone from bone flutes to digital beats. Why does all this still matter to us now?
Well, the benefits are huge. For one thing, studies show that learning to play music can actually improve your memory and even your math skills.
Really? How does that work?
It trains the parts of your brain that recognize patterns. Plus, it teaches you patience and discipline. You can't just master an instrument overnight.
And playing in a band teaches you teamwork.
Exactly. And performing builds confidence. It's also just a fantastic way to relieve stress.
So what about dance? How has the modern world, specifically social media, changed things?
Oh, it's had a massive impact. Short video clips mean dancers can share moves with millions of people, like instantly.
Viral dance challenges.
Yep. They've made dance so much more accessible. You don't need to go to a formal class anymore. Anyone with a phone can learn and participate.
It's created this new global stage for music and dance where trends move incredibly fast.
That's true. So whether you're watching a classical ballet or just scrolling through a dance trend, music and movement are still a totally essential part of being human. They connect us to our entire history.
So here's a final thought for you. If our ancient ancestors used rhythm to build a tight-knit, unified community, what does the very individualized, sometimes fragmented nature of a viral dance challenge